Sci-Fi Audio and One Click Digital present Cold Magic by Kate Elliott, narrated by Charlotte Parry. One Click Digital provides free audiobook downloads in partnership with thousands of public libraries. To see if One Click Digital's extensive catalogue is available to you, visit your library's website. And now, Cold Magic.
Chapter 1. The history of the world begins in ice, and it will end in ice. Or at least, that's how the dawn chill felt in the bedchamber as I shrugged out from beneath the cosy feather comforter under which my cousin and I slept. I winced as I set my feet on the brutally cold wood floor. Any warmth from last evening's fire was long gone. At this early hour, Cook would just be getting the kitchen stove going again, 2 floors below. But last night I had slipped a book out of my uncle's parlour and brought it to read in my bedchamber by candlelight, even though we were expressly forbidden from doing so. He had even made us sign a little contract, stating that we had permission to read my father's journals and the other books in the parlour, as long as we stayed in the parlour and did not waste expensive candlelight to do so. I had to put the book back before he noticed it was gone, or the cold would be the least of my troubles. After all the years sharing a bed with my cousin Beatrice, I knew Bea was such a heavy sleeper that I could have jumped up and down on the bed without waking her. I had tried it more than once. So I left her behind and picked out suitable clothing from the wardrobe. Fresh drawers, 2 layers of stockings, and a knee-length chemise, over which I bound a fitted wool bodice. I fumblingly laced on 2 petticoats and a cutaway overskirt, blowing on my fingers to warm them, and over it buttoned a tight-fitting, hip-length jacket, cut in last year's fashionable style. With my walking boots and the purloined book in hand, I cracked the door and ventured out onto the second-floor landing to listen. No noise came from my aunt and uncle's chamber, and the little girls in the nursery on the 3rd floor above were almost certainly still asleep. But the governess who slept upstairs with them would be rousing soon, and my uncle and his factotum were usually up before dawn. They were the ones I absolutely had to avoid. I crept down to the 1st floor landing and paused there, peering over the railing to survey the empty foyer on the ground floor below. Next to me, a rack of swords, the badge of the Barahal family tradition, lined the wall. Alongside the rack stood our house mirror, in whose reflection I could see both myself and the threads of magic knit through the house. Uncle and aunt were important people in their own way. As local representatives of the far-flung Barahal clan, they discreetly bought and sold information, and in return might receive such luxuries as a call, a protective spell bound over the house by a druer, or door and window locks sealed by a blacksmith to keep out unwanted visitors. I closed my eyes and listened down those threads of magic to trace the stirring of activity in the house. Our man-of-all-work, Pompey, priming the pump in the garden, Cook and Aunt Tilly in the kitchen cracking eggs and wielding spoons as they began the day's baking. A whiff of smoke tickled my nose. The tread of feet marked the approach of the maidservant Callie from the back. By the front door she began sweeping the foyer. I stood perfectly still, as if I were part of the railing, and she did not look up as she swept back the way she had come until she was out of my sight. Abruptly my uncle coughed behind me. I whirled, but there was no one there. Just the empty passage and the stairs leading up to the bedchambers and attic beyond. 2 closed doors led off the 1st floor landing, one to the parlour and one to my uncle's private office, where we girls were never allowed to set foot. I pressed my ear against the office door to make sure he was in his office and not in the parlour. My hand was beginning to ache from clutching my boots and the book so tightly. "You have no appointment," he said in his gruff voice, pitched low because of the early hour. "My
Sample complete. Ready to continue?